Okay, no mic.
That's that white noise we were talking
Yep.
about.
Oh, okay. I guess
You blew it out, girl. I love it. We got the clicker that needs new batteries or something.
I know.
Don't think.
Yeah.
Just want to bring up some double A's really quick. Come on.
Okay, all right. So anyway, as I was saying, I'm grateful to be here. It was actually kind of touch and go for a while if I was going to make it. I don't know if any of you heard of that norovirus that's been going around, closing all the schools in California. Well, my son actually came home from an overnight camp. They went to the Gold Country, and he came back with that virus. He gave it to me, gave it to my husband, and gave it to my daughter. So I couldn't help but think it was a little bit ironic. I'm here to talk about staying well while traveling. Meanwhile, I got hit at home. But good news is, lots of oils and lots of rest. I'm feeling better, and I'm here today. So glad to be here. A little wobbly, so if you see me sort of teeter from side to side, you'll know why. I'm still a little weak. But I'm excited to share with you today about traveling what I'm calling the dough way. Because travel and essential oils are truly two of my greatest passions. I absolutely love to travel. As Russell said, I grew up here in California, and I am actually a true hippie girl. So Russell, there are hippies here in the room. I grew up in California, and my mother actually instilled a love of travel in me early on. She was a single mom and a teacher, so I was her travel buddy. And it started out when I was 2. I broke my stroller in Tuscany. At 4, we were living in a teepee in Northern California. At 5, I was in France in kindergarten. And then we traveled for 4 months through Europe after. And when I came home, my grandparents asked, which was your favorite country? And I said, Italy, because they tell me Bella, Bella everywhere and give me candy. So I had my priorities straight. Right out of high school, I saved money and went to Hawaii with a backpack, traveled all the Hawaiian islands and Bali. Went to Bali before it was even cool. In my 20s, I then traveled for 6 months through the Pacific Rim with a backpack, later on to India, then Europe. Then I got married, had kids, had jobs and a mortgage, so my travels slowed down a little bit, but we still did what we could and went RVing and camping. But I dreamed of a life and a career where I could help people, like with the massage, and travel. And then doTERRA came into my life. So it's been 7 years that I've been with doTERRA, and I've got to go on so many amazing travels and trips, family trips, traveling all around to teach about natural wellness and support my doTERRA teams. I've been on 10 incentive trips, all 5-star, real swanky places, and 3 doTERRA humanitarian trips with the Healing Hands to Bolivia and Peru, Nepal, and Africa. So in these 7 years, I have learned a little bit about how to stay well and travel and be prepared. All right, let's see. Oh, I got it. Okay, good. I was worried about this clicker. So what I would say in terms of what to bring, if you can bring every single essential oil, I would. Seriously. And after Desiree's talk, right, you're going to bring them all. I was in the back, actually. I have my little, I'll show you in a minute. You'll see the slide. I have my little every oil travel case. And I was back there putting, I don't know, white fur on my shoulders and Melaleuca in my arms and all kinds of oils. I put about 50 oils on as she was talking. It was so great. So this is actually one of my favorite every oil travel cases. It's limited supply right now from doTERRA, so I would get it if you don't have it. It's beautiful. It's got purple velvet, and it carries most of the oils and a nice supply of rollers. I would bring your skincare, your hair care, every spa product. Seriously, bring whatever you can. Now, you may have to travel a little bit more light than that, in which case you'll want to get some essential oil carry cases. There's some nice pouches that hold about 10 to 15 essential oils. There's nice rollerball cases. The keychains are great. I always like my kids to have one too, connected to their backpack. And you'll want to bring some empty spray bottles and roller balls, because I'll be sharing some nice travel sprays with you today. Now this is actually the kit that I travel with. It's my mini every essential oil kit, and it's back on the table. This is what I was using today, putting on all kinds of oils. And I love it because I'm able to take every oil in a sample size and a nice collection of my rollers, and I can carry this on the plane. So I'm going to be sharing with you some stories from my life with my family traveling, and you'll get to meet our crazy family. There's my husband and I in our matching cheetah shirts, and my son Elias and my daughter Sophia. And I'm going to share with you why I bring every oil traveling now. So these pictures are from 2 years ago when I decided to take my children on the doTERRA incentive trip to Jamaica. Now, my son, Elias, is very polar opposite to me in that he doesn't like to travel. He likes to stay home. He doesn't like to try new places or new foods, but we convinced him to go because it was going to be so fun to be at a 5-star resort. And the first day, it was pretty fun. You can see him there. He's drinking a virgin daiquiri. He's feeling pretty happy, jumping on a trampoline. Until about day 2, he started getting bitten by red ants. No joke. He swells up. Then day 3, he gets some kind of bug and is in the room the rest of the trip. That's why my daughter and I are alone planting ginger on the volunteer day. My husband is home with a sick kid. Now, I had tried to travel light. I had my little pouch with 10 to 15 oils, but I didn't have the oils that you need for red ant bites because I wasn't really anticipating that. Now, luckily, there's a happy ending because I was on a trip with about 400
Yeah, I was going to say.
crazies. I even had Dr. Hill to talk to, right? So I was okay, and everything ended up just fine. But normally, I'm not on vacation with 400 other essential oil crazies unless we're on an incentive trip or convention. So since then, I pack all my oils with me. All right, so again, I have said bring every oil, but today I'm going to go over just a few of the absolute must-haves. I would like to redo my whole presentation though now that I've heard from some of the other presenters, but these are probably the absolute must-haves. So, On Guard is our protective blend, right? And we use this every day to stay well. We use it as prevention. The thing about travel is that you're going to want to use it more often. And my rule of thumb is the farther away from home you go, the more often you want to use it.
Amen.
I heard an amen. Right? Because you're going to be exposed to things that you probably don't have resistance to. The great thing about On Guard is there's lots of ways to use it, but you want to use it frequently, small amounts frequently. With the oil, you can put it in water and drink it. You can rub it on the bottoms of the feet. I love the touch On Guard because you can just roll that right on your kid's spine or the bottoms of the feet with, it's pre-diluted. The beadlets are always with me, and I pop them on the plane like candy. Okay, it never fails that I'm sitting on a plane and there's somebody coughing up a lung just right behind me or right in front, and so I just pop those beadlets, and it gives my body a fighting chance. I have yet to actually get sick on an airplane with doTERRA. I love the On Guard throat lozenges as well. A great way to get doTERRA On Guard in your system. Wonderful if you have a scratchy throat. And one of the things that I always travel with is the doTERRA hand sanitizer. Now this recipe is on the doTERRA blog, so you can find it and make this for yourself. And what you can do is make a large batch of them at once. So I usually make about 12 to 15, and then I have enough to last. I have one in my purse, in the car, in the backpacks, your fanny pack if you're going hiking, because we know that we need to wash our hands to stay well, right? This is a huge way to keep from spreading germs, but often we're not able to get to a sink with warm water and soap. Or worse yet, get our kids to a sink with warm water and soap. And if you travel in third world countries, often there's no sink. So you really are going to want to have this hand sanitizer with you before you eat, after you've been touching things, when you get on the plane. The nice thing about this, besides the fact that it's totally natural, there's no chemicals, it's also very moisturizing to your hands because of the vitamin E oil and the aloe. So it doesn't leave your hands kind of red and chapped like the over-the-counter hand sanitizers do. All right, lavender. We call lavender the Swiss Army knife of essential oils. And I couldn't resist showing you this picture of my son getting his first Swiss Army knife when he's 7. He looks like a serial killer in this photo. But the only person he hurt was himself the first time, not badly, and we used lavender, so it was okay. But lavender is really, we call it the Swiss Army knife because it's so versatile. It's going to be helping to reduce stress. It's very nurturing and soothing to the skin for irritations, rashes, cuts, bee stings, burns, all of these types of skin irritations. And one of my favorite sprays, and why I asked you to bring those spray bottles with you, is an After the Sun spray. This is also found on doTERRA's blog, so you can find it there again. It's got lavender, melaleuca, peppermint, and frankincense, and it's very healing and soothing to the skin.
It's so fun to take a picture.
As you can see, I'm pretty white, as are my kids, and so even though we slather on the sunscreen and wear hats, we tend to get sunburn if we're out all day in the sun, and this has been amazing. I would say it usually clears things up within about a day. You can also use this for any kind of itchy rashes. So I'm just recovering from a round of poison oak, and I've been using the same recipe for that as well. Okay, so can I share a little secret with you? Even though I am an absolute travel junkie and have traveled all over the world, I'm actually terrified of flying. And the minute I'm in an airplane that gets bumpy, I feel like I can't breathe. I'm clutching the side of my chair. And to make matters worse, I live in Carmel, California, which is a beautiful place to live, but it's not close to a big airport. So instead of driving 2 hours to Silicon Valley, I fly out of the Monterey Airport, which is this big, and so are the planes. Little tiny commuter planes, that's what I fly. So I get to experience bumping around in a tiny little plane quite often, which does not help my nerves or my emotional state. But serenity is to the rescue each and every time. The minute I feel that bumping or I feel afraid, I just pop open that bottle and I literally sit there and I just do these deep breaths. I do have people staring at me, but I don't care. I make a lot of friends on the plane. They ask me, what are you doing? What is that? And I've actually been able to help a lot of people on the plane because a lot of people are afraid of flying. This is really one of my favorite oils. It's also really helpful for sleep because isn't one of the most difficult things about travel getting your rest, right? New time zones, staying in new climates, right? Maybe you're sharing a room with people and it just can really mess with your sleep. And so using the Serenity oil with the Serenity soft gels is a really great way to be able to get your rest and get in the right time zone quickly.
Oh, it's been good.
Okay, now, can we go to the next slide?
Oh,
there we go. Thank you. Maybe one back. Okay, perfect. So peppermint, cooling and energizing. Now this could also be called the Swiss Army knife of essential oils because it's so versatile. It's great for upset stomachs, for nausea, for energizing if you need some quick energy. It helps open up airways for clear breathing, and it cools the body. One of my favorite things about having the peppermint with me is also just how quickly it can resolve bad breath. Maybe you go out to dinner and have some garlic or onions, and that peppermint beadlet will just knock that out. Now, one of the sprays that I love to make is the peppermint cooling spray. And this is super simple. It's just water and peppermint essential oil. And you can see I used it in Peru to stay cool. In Nepal, we were in some really hot and muggy climates, visiting the elephants and the rhinoceroses. I had it there with me. We used it in Africa. And I love to just spray it on the back of my neck, spray it on inside the creases of the arm, on the back of the legs, and it just cools you down. If you can, put it in a refrigerator or a cooler, and it's even more wonderful. And you don't have to travel to third world countries to get hot. I used this spray actually here at Disneyland last year. I was waiting in those hot lines, just sweltering, and that peppermint spray just kept us all cool. It was wonderful. All right, digestion. So I don't know about your family, but my family thinks that going on vacation is an excuse to eat junk food. And I don't know why. Their dad's there with a big cotton candy, right? So it never fails that they eat a bunch of junk food and then they say, oh, my stomach hurts, right? And you know, it's not just the kids. We all do this, don't we? Oh, I'll just have that dessert on vacation. It's vacation. Have another glass of wine, it's vacation. So, and you don't have to even overeat to feel that. Just being in new places, trying new foods, right? Sometimes they don't agree with you. This is where digestion is going to be crucial to have with you. It's soothing to the digestive tract. It's going to just help you deal with any of those upset stomachs. If you do end up having some issues of things moving out too quickly, it's going to support you in that. Or if you need things to move more quickly, it will support you in that, right? Keeping the pipes flowing in the right way, which again is something that you're going to want. All right. Okay, aches, pains, and tension tamers. So Deep Blue, Aroma Touch, and Past Tense are always with me when I travel. Personally, I find the most difficulty in travel with just the sitting on airplanes, the long car rides, sitting at conferences, and just my back and my neck and my hips getting really sore. So I'll use the Deep Blue, and it just looks like a charm. I actually call Deep Blue my gateway oil because it's like a gateway drug. You know, once you try it, you're hooked, and you'll try any other oil because you believe. And it's true. I have been able to get people who are very resistant to essential oils to try Deep Blue because it's not, you know, when you're in pain, when you're stiff, you'll try anything. And then they're like, wow, these oils actually work. Huh, what else have you got in there, right?
Yes.
So, I love the Deep Blue packets because they're this little packet you could just throw in your backpack, in your purse, and have it with you. Mm-hmm. Now, Aroma Touch is also one of my favorite oils. It's good for circulation, so when you're standing for long periods of time or sitting, it's great to rub in your legs. And I like it right before bed because the Deep Blue is actually too stimulating for me. It's hot, it's cold, you know. So I don't like to put that on right before I go to sleep, whereas the Aroma Touch just relaxes all the muscles and I feel like I'm able to just drop into sleep much faster, more relaxed. Past tense, absolutely, you've got to have past tense. This is going to help your neck tension, your headaches, your heat-induced headaches, your tension headaches, which especially can happen when you fly in airplanes or go into higher altitudes or in the heat. Okay, let's see if I can get this guy to work. Okay, breathe. So they say breath is life, and if we're not breathing well, we're probably not living as well as we can. This is a picture of me in Carmel on my beach where I love to go. And so the air is wonderful there. I have that fresh ocean air. But when I travel, oftentimes I'm in places where the air is very dry or polluted, and I use the breathe to just open up my airways. If you have seasonal issues, you're definitely going to want to bring your breathe with you. If you're dealing with any kinds of colds or coughs, it's going to help soothe. You can rub the oil right on your chest, put a little swipe under your nose, diffuse it, use the Breathe Respiratory Drops or the Breathe Touch. And Dr. Riggs also said, and it is true, it helps with snoring. So this is, yes, it was great to hear that from a doctor. And so this is going to help you, your marriage, your friendships, whoever you're sharing a room with, right? This is going to help keep you all enjoying each other's company. Okay, all right, so I love to travel, as I said, I'm a travel junkie, but can we be honest, just for a minute? Traveling with family and children, it's not exactly like going on a honeymoon to Hawaii or a girls' weekend, right? It can be really stressful traveling with your family. You see the picture of the guy surrounded by the crying babies. I love that picture. He's smiling, but nobody's really smiling when they're surrounded by crying babies. And who's been the mom holding the crying baby on the plane, right?
Oh my gosh.
Or the picture with the kids fighting in the back seat and the mom screaming at them. You can notice these are not pictures of me and my family, right? We don't take pictures like that and post them on Facebook. We take the one we're all happy, right? Right before we take off, not 2 hours in and everybody's screaming and yelling and Everything's falling apart. So what's the solution? Take your mood oils. Use them. Use them preventatively before things go south, right? Make sure you have all your favorites. Make sure your children have their favorites. I like to have, as I said, my kids with their keychain. Let them have some of their favorite oils. Diffuse, get a car diffuser, okay? Use your mood oils. I like the Elevation, the Wild Orange, the Citrus Bliss, and the Cheer to cure the grumpies. The Peace, Serenity, and Console to just kind of calm the crazies. Balance is just non-negotiable for me every day. I have to have my balance on. Passion, so you can, feel passionate. And if you're on a family trip, you're going to need your forgive, okay? Multiple times a day. So bring your mood oils. And this is another really fun way that you can get your kids involved with wearing mood oils. It's a DIY. There's too long to put on a slide, but it's on the doTERRA blog. And it's about how to make your own aromatherapy necklace. We made a bunch of them at Christmas and gave them as gifts. It was a really great gift. So you bake them out of clay and little stamps, and then each child can have one and put their favorite essential oil on it. Okay, outdoors. Who loves the outdoors, right? Camping, boating, fishing. It's all fun until you start getting munched by mosquitoes or bitten by ticks, right? That can really put a damper. So I love TerraShield because it's going to protect us from those critters. We can reapply it as much as possible, as much as we need. It's natural and it smells amazing. The other thing that can really get in the way of having a good time is the owies, the cuts, the scrapes, the bruises, and so Correctex is going to be something you're going to want to bring with you as well. It's going to just help you to soothe and resolve those issues very quickly. If you want to make your own DIY owie spray, this is also on the doTERRA blog. You can make that with lavender, melaleuca, and frankincense, and a little fractionated coconut oil in a spray bottle. I like to use this when you're trying to cover a large surface area or something that you don't want to touch because it's hurting. So oftentimes when kids are bike riding and they get, they skid out and they get the road rash and they don't want you to touch it, this is perfect. You can just spray it on, and so you're not rubbing on it, and they can spray themselves. Okay, can we get the next slide, please? Thank you. Oh, maybe one back? Okay, supplements. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about the supplements because we have presentations about all of them this weekend from much smarter doctors and people like that. But what I'm going to say is bring them. That's what I want to say, bring them. In the early days of doTERRA, sometimes I would not bring them because I would forget, or I didn't want to deal with the bottles, okay? So what I would say is, ahead of time, make your little baggies. I love this little travel case here because it allows you to make one like a breakfast, a lunch at one time. If you don't have that, just use Ziploc baggies and write on with Sharpie breakfast, dinner, and make them ahead of time. The nice thing about this is A, you'll have them, and B, they're super light. So even if you're going out to dinner and you just have a little purse, you can just put that one baggie in there. Or if you're going hiking, you can put that baggie. So you'll have them at all of your meals and you'll take them. Trust me, you're gonna need that energy, you're gonna need all of that support when you're on vacation. You don't wanna leave home without them. The other thing that I do is I bring certain supplements in their own little baggie for targeted support, like my Tri-Ease, my Serenity Soft Gels, my On Guard Plus, and those I just write on a Sharpie on the bag, and so I have those and I can use them as needed. Next slide, please. So traveling with oils on the plane. The main questions that I get are, how many essential oils can you bring and carry on, and can they go through the x-ray? They can go through the x-ray, don't worry, and you can bring as many carry-on as will fit in a quart-size bag. Okay, this is why I love the mini every oil kit, where I have every single oil in a little sample size. They will fit in a quart-size bag, and I can do that with the carry-on. You can also take your, On Guard toothpaste samples, your Deep Blue samples, your conditioner and shampoo samples, and go ahead and get some sample size carry-on from the drugstore. Put your skincare, your spa products in there. That's what I did. I did carry-on coming here, and I've got all of these products in my bag. Okay, next slide, please. So this slide is probably dating me. Those of you who are my age or older will remember the American Express commercial, never leave home without it, right? And that's how I feel about my essential oils and doTERRA products. I will never leave home without them. They are crucial. Travel is one of the greatest pleasures in life, and it allows us to experience new things, create memories, build relationships, open our mind to the bigger world. And I know that my travels have made me who I am and opened my heart to humanity and made me want to serve. And my hope is that you are empowered with some tools to stay well, have fun, travel safe. So don't leave home without them. Thank you.